So after the first video, which was the context, my voice a little clearer, but in a strange way, me slowing down as a result of just expelling the context, knowing that we're all on the same level. Who knows if that's the real reason, but that's what I'm going to put out there right this second. By expelling the oxygen, that's the main thing. So the point I'm trying to make is where I'm a bit stuck. How can I make a point when I'm a bit stuck? The reason is because two reasons. One is because it's positive and because it's proactive, and because it's something that as you can tell, it's just mind just getting into gear. Because it's important, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. Because it's important to everybody. And because of that point, sharing my stuckness within the most important thing to everybody becomes a point. And there was a second reason, but the first reason seems quite on point. And I've forgotten the second reason. I'm not going to push myself too much to sit here on video and try and rack my brain. I'll just get onto it. I think the point's been made as to why the point isn't a point, but it's a point. So anyway, what's important to everybody? And that is love on some level. Yeah, not everybody, but if we're working for solutions, my understanding is that it is important to everybody because it's the answer. That's my teachings that I've had. That's teachings from the fundamental teaching from my uncle, who was my role model and who was my biggest teacher. But then again, that's the exact message I've taken from David Icke in all his conspiracy theories and complaining. That's the fundamental message. Love is the answer. And it's from him. And it's my uncle pointing me to him that I remember the message. Because I was complaining all last year probably, and looking at David Icke, if you forget all of his complaining, that's all he's trying to say. Is, look, this is the problem. And within all his messages, look, spirituality is real and love is the answer. And for me, it's just hit home that spirituality is real. Like really real. Really, really, really. Really, 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 really real. And if spirituality is real, then I've got to start loving. I've got to look to love. But my life experience has taught me that love doesn't exist. Love is a constant striving for. So if it's a constant striving for, that's why it can't really be a point, and that's why it's important to everybody, and that's why it is a point without being a point as well. So where I am is, I wanted to ask you all, in my point, I wanted to ask you all, even if it's just like having to think about it and sending it out there on the, I always say etheric wave, consciousness waves, or just sending it out there with consciousness. And maybe now I've remembered my spirituality, or reclaimed it, or claimed it for the first time, I'm able to tap into it where I would have just like brushed it away. Oh, I can't hear what you're thinking, I can't hear what you're all trying to send me. Who knows? But I'm asking you to do it. And that is, what is love? It's not complicated, and the reason is because I'm looking at my own life, and I've seen 4 times that I'm referencing as bases to gauge a picture of where love is. But I think it was, my memory's going. And in stating that, I just remembered I need to have some more electrolytes, so the aloe vera is good. And yeah, there was a 5th thing that I think was the fact that I've forgotten something. But essentially I'm trying to navigate towards love. If I can get a better perspective of love, I can be there, because love isn't for me ultimately. I mean, yeah, there's conditioned love like my uncle used to say, but you start there. Ultimately it's unconditional love. And as far as I know, unconditional love is unattainable unless you claim madness. So, using my conditioned love, I'm trying to plot a course as close to, that's it, I've just remembered, as close to, well, what do they have on aeroplanes when the autopilot, when they lock onto position? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lock onto the position of unconditional love. And I've forgotten again. It's annoying, but I'm going to persist. So I'm looking onto that point of that course of unconditional love, of, you know, I'm doing this myself. I'm trusting that all this learning, all these teachings, all this life experience is going to get me to where I want to go. And it's my first time in my own flight to, because it's all our first times in our own lives. I've not been able to be a pilot before and get anywhere, because life is a constant first time course. So as you can tell, I've got a mental health disorder as well. I'm not going to try and hide it. That's not the point of these videos. So I'm locking onto the course of love. It's not for me, ultimately, because if unconditional love is the ultimate destination point, love is us. And that's why I asked for you to send me what your aspect of love is, because as much as I'm from, I don't want to call it the island of love, that's too egotistical, but where the goddess of love was meant to have been born in the context of the Greeks and the picture I've formed of the world as a result of my uncle and, well, my overactive mind of what each different type of people are like. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that would claim love is something a lot different, and that's exactly what I want. I want to feel, I want to feel what you're thinking, so my mind can take that big soup of mixed up loveness from all around the world, everybody's different perspective, because I'm sure there are people out there that think love ain't love, man. And that's love. If you think love isn't love, that's what love is to you. And I want to put that in the soup. But I want to feel what that soup tastes like, good, bad, or other, to me. And that's exactly it, because in my video about the law of attraction that nobody could listen to because it was so chopped up, probably by aliens or just poor internet, one or the other. I basically state that I've tried to live my life through what I viewed as love, and I've hit the wall. And now life is telling me that, wait, hang on a second, Andreas. You're right, love is the answer. Love is the answer to all the problems. But then I'm not able to carry on the way that I understood love. So what I have to do is take that philosophy, or essentially my own personal philosophy of what love was, and that I hit the wall with, feel what everybody else's perception out there of love is, reference back to my own life of the different points where I could claim, oh, this is a different aspect of love. Oh God. And hopefully if I get 20 people sending me this, I'll get 24 different aspects of love. Because the ancient Greeks used to have 24 different aspects of love, and I don't really want to do it for 20 more times in my life. I'd like to get to that 25th, which is unconditional love, and isn't possibly imaginable that it's ever been attained in my mind, unless the world was fully on board. And, well, the history books don't say that. At no point in time did the history books say the whole world was in board with one another. There was even the ancient Greeks were meant to be fighting with each other. How can you be in love when you're fighting each other? So in my mind, unconditional love was never attained. So if I get 20 people sending me their views, at least 20 people, and it might take a lot more, it probably will, to send me their aspects of love. Then when it all comes into that soup, I just have to take 5 aspects of love. My 4 that I've managed to compartmentalise my own life into, seeing myself at different stages. And I think in talking, I've seen a possible 5th that I wasn't aware of. And it's not important to share when that is. Or a 6th. I don't know if I'm starting to receive the messages now, but I've seen 6 different aspects of love in myself already. So we're up from 4 to 6. So thank you for all your hard work. And number 5 and number 6, I think, take the edge off the wall that I hit. So maybe you've all done it, you know. Maybe you just saw me take a sip of the soup and think, okay, I found number 5 and number 6 in myself as a reference for what all that mixed up soup is. So we're interdimensionally time traveling on this video as well. So number 5 and number 6 have come to me as reference points in my own life, and I'm going to claim it. I can't be bothered to tune into it later. That number 5 and number 6, unless they come to me just like they did, I'm going to claim number 5 and number 6 are the new softenings that I was looking for to that wall I hit. And I'm going to meditate on that. So thank you for your hard work again. Is it important to share? Well, let's do it. I'll share with you. No, I won't. I won't. But I hope, in listening to me, my understanding of love, because that's all I've ever really strived for. That's always been there at the back of my mind. Love, love, love. Love is the answer. Since my early 20s, I began following David Icke's work, and that was the message from the start. And my uncle just kept pushing me to David Icke. Look, if that's what you get from David, just focus on David is a good thing. Watch me, watch what I do in the world, watch how I behave, and I think I've got number 7, but number 7 adds constriction, and it adds something more, but I don't know how to get that bit more. And the constriction is essentially what I was subconsciously doing anyway. It's what was needed, and that is looking at my uncle. Because my uncle applied the highest virtue to his own life, and that was fidel piety. And the simplicity that's been there for your family first. And then where you can be there for others as a mindset, you know, if you're there for your family first, you can be there for others as just a relaxation. As you can see, I'm having some realizations on this video, so you must be really working hard at this. So basically that's what I was wanting. How can I relax into love when I've worked at it for my whole life? And I just got the answer there for you all, and I'm scared because of what the answer is, but fidel piety is meant to be the highest virtue that there is, and my uncle applied it. I saw how he cared for my grandmother and how he managed to keep a smile on his face when he had me there to look after as well, and his family there that he had to look after, and the love that he shared for the world. To me, that he shared for the world at the same time. And it just baffled me, how can he do that? You know, how is that possible by a man, a human, woman, man, but a human? How is that possible? And I know he applied fidel piety, and I think it's like you train your own self to surrender to it, you know. Fidel piety in the context of love. I'm gonna love my family first, and there's not gonna be anything else. Nothing's gonna stop me from loving my family. And if I love my family, when I interact with others, it's always just predominantly there of how best to love. You know, no matter what anyone in my family does to me, all the different lives that come into mix, I'm gonna do my absolute best. Given that's how, and it's coming to me how I'm gonna apply it as well. So thank you again. And how I'm gonna apply it is by the wall. The wall which I hit was the way to apply love. But the reference point I had was learning it first. So in other words, that meant if I need to, I'll cast away my family, and that's what I've done. And in the back of my mind, I'm saying bollocks, 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 because I'm thinking I'm going to have to humble myself, and this makes sense to where I am. I'm going to have to humble myself and add another level to the way I've been interacting with my family, and that is no, I don't cast my family away. And I don't know where that emotion came from, because that's not where I am. I don't cast my family away. I know the way to love as a course for my own life. It's there in my bones. There's no doubt in my mind that it's there in my bones. I know how to be. Love is how I am. But if I just I just wanted to get my hand in the video for no reason. If I up the limit from, right, I'm here and I've hit the wall, I need to die on some level, which is unconditional on another level, madness on another level. But either way, it's the same thing, and that is we'll put a top to the pyramid, and no matter what you do, I'm going to be here. We're going to have our squabbles, and I want to see you through that squabble. But I'm tied to you by course of my birth, and I can't get away from that. And by accepting that I'm tied to you, all, my family, and I've got to apply who I am with the surrendering to love, an unconditional love to my family, it removes something. It removes a massive heavy weight, and it just adds an element of work to my family. But as I said in and this is probably where the Queen's Chamber is important within the Great Pyramid, because it's an internal process. You have to internally see that if I do that internally, it affects the top of the pyramid, because it's an upside down pyramid, and my hand's going to confuse me now, but if I do it internally first, it affects the top of the pyramid, because I have to surrender, I have to die to love, I have to go beyond my limits. And going beyond my own limits Because there's no way on a sanity level to this world that I should do what I'm gonna likely do. I'm claiming fidel piety. Yes, fidel piety is the insanity, but where I am, I'm so lost to the world, and all I know how to be is what my uncles taught, what David Icke taught, and what my uncle taught was more the virtue-based, the Taoist-based perspective. And in my lostness and in my trust beyond anything in this world is the teachings my uncle gave, and the teachings were silent teachings, man. Again, I don't know where the emotion comes from. The teachings were silent teachings. It was just watching my uncle, seeing how he behaved, and seeing fidel piety in action. I then surrender to love. I rest in love because that's just what life is showing me, and I can't believe the realization I'm having. It's just like a clicking into place of a big piece of the puzzle that was missing. I rest in love. So it's an upside down pyramid. I rest in love to my family, and I rest in love to my family, and that allows me to rest in love to everybody, because what I'm about to do is train myself with my family for fidel piety. And it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough, it's going to be messy, but I don't have a choice, man. Spirituality just took a baseball bat to me, knocked me around the head and said, look, I'm here. You can't deny me anymore. You wanted me your whole life, and I'm here. This is the first time you've been able to truly admit it. And you know me, or your perception of me is that love is the answer. And I'm trying to keep my voice down for my neighbours. So love is the answer. And boy, am I glad I woke up for this piece of the puzzle. It's not a pleasant piece of the puzzle, believe me, taking back my family, and I can't believe I'm doing this on camera, but taking back my family isn't what I want to do. They don't deserve it in my head. But essentially that's what I was asking. How do I relax to that wall I've hit? And you've given me the answer. And for the fickleness I am towards my family, when I expressed to a psychologist at the hospital a few years ago, I just got to be honest with myself. It's not really my family I'm fickle to. It's me wanting peace, and if it constantly means I have to be fickle to my family, I'm going to prostitute myself that way. And as you can tell by the language I'm using to describe the process of what's going to be, I'm not happy about it. And I'm sure my family watching this aren't going to be happy about it. Well, they might be, but if they know that's where I'm at, I'm sure they're not going to be happy, and I'm setting more work for myself. And it might be that some of my family just don't want me back. That makes my life a little bit easier. because I know my feelings towards them first, and I have to remember that. So this is going to be a letting go of myself. For the family that want to take me back, they can take me back, and for those that don't, it's just going to be a further remembering of myself and giving me an even greater perspective then. Sorry, I was going to say possibly that my uncle, possibly then what my uncle was able to achieve, I don't know. Maybe he got to the same place, and it was as a result of a similar situation to himself. That he was able to claim fidel piety, and either way I have to do it, you know. I have a smile on my face because I know my uncle, and he's mischievous as well, mischievous in his teachings, and I don't know if it's the right answer anymore. So I need you all to think a bit harder, what is love, and send me that message. And I'm serious. I can't believe I've clicked my life into place, and then as a result of my uncle's, it's not mischievousness. As much as it can be viewed as that, it's absolute. An absolute want for love, for all, for me, and for every other soul alive, in absolute balance. And this thing that I'm perceiving as mischievous, because it was the way it was presented, and it's got me to stop, because I fear my uncle, and I fear his teachings as well. I have to have a little think about it. I have to have a little think and think, what is the answer? So I am going to take on board everybody's perceptions of what love is a little more than I was hoping for. And fine, I'll have a meditate on this. I'll have a meditate on this. I need to use the toilet. I have a weak bladder. But I think the message is complete. Have a lovely weekend.